Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the show, and I apologize for my voice today. A little bit lost, but we're doing okay. Look, we got a lot to talk about today. We have obviously the NFL, NBA. We talk about sports every single day, but today, live on the show, we have for the first time Trey Waters, UFC fighter, a guy we want to hear his story, his passion, his dreams, his goals. I'm looking forward to, as you've seen fighters on our show consistently, but this is someone we'd love to talk to. Someone we're excited to bring on. You can see here the live interview, Trey Waters, a guy that if you haven't seen him yet, you need to check him out. He's going to come on and talk for us. I want to show some pictures real quick so you guys get an understanding of someone who I looked up and I said, man, this guy's a beast. I'm watching him fight and going, this guy's like 6'4", 6'5", a guy that I really wanted to get to know, and we're going to check out his fights. Guys, welcome to the show, Trey Waters. Love to have you on, man. Excited to have you on.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, brother. I'm glad to be on.
Where are you? So where are you at right now? And I apologize, my voice is crazy. It's like going like I literally lost my voice, and people will laugh on here talking every day. So where are you based right now?
I am here in Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
Nice. Were you born? You were born and raised in Florida?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So listen, reach out to you because I want to get you on. We've had fighters consistently come on here from bare knuckle, right? And people are talking about bare knuckle, how fast it's growing and what's going on. And from my understanding, from watching the UFC for all this time, it's been like the baddest dudes on the planet, right? Like UFC, these people are real. And what I wanted to do today is bring you on because, and one thing I said before you came on, I said, look, people watch UFC fights and go, oh, I can beat that guy up. And you go, no, that dude really fights for a living, like for real. Like that dude puts food on the table, fighting for real. So I want to ask you a couple things and dive into your background. So what got you into fighting from the start?
So two of my brothers, Seth and Colin, we went to high school together. We used to do a lot of crazy young kid stuff together, but they actually was training at an MMA gym, and they like invited me one day, and I just fell in love with it.
You showed up and you're like these guys are fighting, and it was like, yo, this is for me.
Yeah, I loved it. Actually, my first coach, Dean Grant, he was such a great dude. He was such a lover. And then I realized how dangerous he was, how good of a fighter he was. And it clicked for me. I'm like, man, like, because I've always wanted to be similar to him and like just a lover, because I've always had that in me. And I realized, like, if you can get strong enough to beat people up, then you don't have to be insecure about being a lover, you know?
Yo, that is, first off, one of the most interesting ways to put it. And I understand exactly what you're saying. It's just like, look, if you're tough and you believe in yourself, you're like, I got no reason to put on a show for anybody. Like, I'm a bad dude, right? Like, I can handle my own. So what I want to do is walk us through this. So you get started in fighting, right? Obviously, you don't get right to the UFC. You don't get to the big time immediately. What's it like for your steps to get to where you're at now? Like, people have those questions. And the reason why I ask you this is important is because everyone that's getting into fighting, they think, I'm going to go sign up for the UFC. It just doesn't work like that, right? Like, tell us the process. How do you get to where you're at?
Well, it's a very long road, and it's a very unique process. It's different for each and every person that has made it to the UFC. But I would say it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of perseverance. I think in order to get into the UFC, like, you have to take a unique path. Like, you have to do a lot of good things on the regional level. You know, for me, I was fortunate to have gotten a few good knockouts in the regional scene for LFA, and that's what got me that ticket to the UFC for sure.
So these guys, and so why this is so important, and people don't understand. The ranks that you climb, right? Like, I have friends, I have cousins that are fighting right now, and they get to the MMA, then they want to go pro. But can you tell us about the LFA? Like, you're fighting, you initially sign up, you're at a gym, right? Like, a gym kind of promotes a little bit, or they get you some fights, right? Kind of what I've been told. How do you like, are you win a fight and someone goes, hey, we got to see this guy fight at another level, like, because he's just that damn good? Or is it like, are you putting up money? Like, how does that process go? How do you get to the LFA?
Well, first you have to like, once you become pro after your amateur career, you have to well, I mean, I guess some guys make their debut in LFA, but that's like very rare. me personally, I was like 4-0, I believe, 5-0 when I fought for LFA. So I would say win a few regional fights, and and you can fight for LFA. But more importantly, I think it's important to get with a good manager. You know, my manager Jason House, he's a beast. He got me in there for sure.
So that person that's in your corner, that's a big deal. They have the contacts or whatever, and you got to be good. But then tell us about this right here. You get to this position, right? And I believe this your debut in the UFC right
Yes,
here.
sir.
Tell us about this right here. What, like, when you get in the ring, you get in there. What's this feel like? I mean, I know the knockout or the hits, the blow, that feels good when you're all of it's coming together, right? But tell us the person on the right here, like, how's he feeling in this moment right here?
Well, just the experience in total, like my UFC debut was just a dream come true. Uh, Such a beautiful moment that I can't put into words at all. It went very well. I had a good performance. I got out of there unscathed. That moment right there, seeing DC, like that was just crazy.
Dude, look
I
at
actually
this.
seen him. When I seen him, I literally said, my boy DC, what? That's crazy.
Yo,
Like
when I saw this, I said, just the interview, I was telling Howard in the back production, I said, this dude, you're beasting right now. That dude, Daniel Cormier, when you see him, you go, holy shit. Like, I've been watching you on TV, bro. I've been watching you on UFC 2000, whatever, 16. And I was laughing in the background with Howard. He goes, when you fight against DC in the game, dude's taking you down the whole time. Like, it's like, okay, this shit's bullshit. Like it's like John Jones, Daniel Cormier, right? This feeling's got to feel so damn good because you work so hard to get here, right? Are you feeling anything right now when like, how are you feeling in that mindset? I know it's hard to go back and think exactly, but tell me about the emotion you got in this.
Well, in there, inside of the fight, you can't really have emotion. You have to kind of empty out. You got to kind of just trust those reactions. You got to be water, let it just flow out. And yeah, but there right there, like as far as post-fight interviews, like as soon as the bell rung and I knew the fight was over, I knew for a fact I won. And I was amazed. Like if you go back and look at any of my post-fight stuff, you can see how like happy I was, like how much it meant to me. You could see it in my face.
You know,
I didn't have the words.
yeah, it's interesting because I'm not even in the UFC. I'm not fighting for a living. I'm not in MMA. I played football for a long time. Went to the Giants. I went to the Dolphins. I had workouts. I had a bad knee injury and yada yada yada. And you see players on the field, right? Like you're not starstruck. Excuse me. You're not starstruck by players, right? But if you see guys like Tom Brady, right? Guys like Michael Jordan, guys like Shaquille O'Neal, you're like, oh shit, that's Shaquille O'Neal, right? Walking around. Or like, but when you see Daniel Cormier, that's like the same shit. Like Daniel Cormier was a bad dude. Like when he fought John Jones, at first I'm like, oh my God, this is not going to be good for Daniel Cormier. And then watching the fight, you're like, dude, Daniel Cormier is like one of the baddest dudes I've ever seen in my life, right? Like he's not scared of shit, right?
For
Like
sure,
that dude is a beast. Is that the kind of mentality that you have when you're in that ring? Like, are you just like you said you have no emotion? And this is the third consecutive time that we've talked to fighters that are knocking people out. They're like, it's emotionless. I'm like, what? Like, there's no feeling. You're just like, yo, I'm letting it out. I trained so hard. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to brawl. Like, this is game time.
That's exactly it. Emotions get in the way, man. Like your reactions are you just gotta trust them. You just gotta let them go. And I really trust myself. I really believe in everything. I really believe in my hands, my feet, my timing, my range. And I believe I'm a problem for these guys, man. I really do. Like Billy Golf, that dude's in trouble.
Yeah, we're going to that too. And before we go into that, pull the spiritual power behind here. You get to the weigh-ins, right? Tell us, okay, so you get to the weigh-ins of these fights, and everyone, is saying different things. This is like what, one of the first or, second time that you pull up and you're looking right at the person you're fighting. What is that like, right? Like you're like, Just all things building up, it's building up, and then obviously you take pictures where hey, this fight is signed up. But now there's a lot of shit talk, obviously, right? It's all over social media. You're seeing that a lot, and then you get face to face what for weigh-ins and or whatever it is, or the night before, you get up there and it's like, dude, I can't wait for tomorrow. Like, what is that? I know that's adrenaline. I know it's inside of you. Like this is like I'm gonna win this fight, right? That's just what you're feeling because you're six foot
Yeah,
five on paper, dude. Like these guys are looking at you like this dude's gonna. I'm worried about this. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that helps for sure for me in those aspects. But like at that time, it's just kind of like a sizing up moment. Like you're waiting to get a chance to see your opponent, be there face to face. You get to see him, you get to see what he looks like, you get to feel his energy, look into his eyes. And yeah, man, it's beautiful. But as far as emotions, that's basically emotionless as well. You got to try to kind of tame it. You save all that stuff for tomorrow because you're gonna need all that energy. And I don't like to waste no energy, but I'm like that in general. Like I'll sit in a conversation and I won't say anything unless I feel called to say something. You know, like I don't just say meaningless things. And that's the same way I am as fighting. If you really watch me, man, my movements are I don't waste movements. I everything has a purpose and sets me apart.
Yeah, and when I'm watching these, when I'm watching your aggression here, it's like you're not like you're like in perfect range, and that's what I was telling Howard in the back of the pod. I'm like, look, this guy, when you look at him, you're like, okay, this guy's got to be at least 6'2", and I was telling you before, and you're like, no, this guy is 6'4", 6'5". Like the ability to be able to fight at that level, making weight, having the speed, having the power, and then having that extra range, the reach. And then I'm like, okay, not only is he punching people, Howard, can you pull this picture up here behind here? You got the range to kick the shit out of people, man. It's like these people, like there's just a lot to worry about, like stepping in the ring with you. And I'm being dead serious. Like there's guys, and you're walking on the street, guys, say 5'9", 5'10". You got a little more confidence. You're like, okay, like I'm a lot bigger than you, bro. Like, even if the guy can fight, there's guys that are 5'8", 5'9" that can fight just as good or whatever. But the point is, they get in the ring with you, right? And they go, dude, this guy really is kicking the shit out of me from over there. And they got to try to get close to you. They got to try to get within proximity to even get a hit off. So I'm sure you, your corner, your trainer, you're using that to your advantage, right? Like that's something that has got to be one of your main things, no?
Not main. So the thing is, like, that's one thing, but man, I have a heart of a lion. I have a sound mind. My fight IQ is high, 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 high. I'm gonna actually, I will change this game. Like, I will bring something into this game that people are not really paying attention to, and I will change it. Like, I will change a lot of things when it comes to strikers, um, striking in MMA, and it's just there's something that I'm gonna show these people.
And it's deep inside. I can tell that your emotion. It's something that's not emotion on the canvas, but it's something inside you that you're born to do this. And so tell us about what I wanted to ask you was you're a big supporter, believer. You follow Jesus Christ. You follow God. Tell us about that. Why? And I know. Before you answer that, a lot of people, and I said this to you after games, even as a kid, right? First, thanks to God, thanks to Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior. Everyone says that, and I think it's a great thing that people do say that, even when they don't even know what they're talking about, right? It's a good starting step in the direction of follower in Christ or whatever. But tell us about how, like, just your mindset, because you said that it's not about you, right? Tell us what you're living through here.
Yeah, man, I'm a true follower of Jesus Christ of the Bible. My life is in full surrender to him. So anything that I do, I can't take credit for because I don't even place myself into places. I literally I go to God for everything. I depend on God for everything.
Really?
He does everything. Everything. I deny myself and my life is his life. So yeah, man, it's hard to explain, but it's my life is in full surrender to Christ. So that's why when I say that it's all God, it's not me, I truly mean it because I did not do anything and I'm not doing anything. You know, I completely give my life because God gave his only son, you know, for the world, you know, and as a sacrifice, and I give my life right back to him to honor him.
That's, I'll tell you this. It's easy for people to say, and I like where you're coming from with this. A lot of people are going to love what you're saying. And when we upload a lot of social media, people are going to love what you're saying. And I'm just like, everybody that gets out there and goes, thanks to God to do this, thanks to God to do that. But what you're saying is, look, I'm not, when I get in that ring, this is what God put out here. Like, it's not really like you're there, but you're not there, right? You're like, God is doing this. God is helping me do everything. Throw these punches, whatever I'm doing, my ability, being able to jump, kick, whatever, that is put out there through your Lord and Savior, someone that put you out there and said, we're helping you through this fight. Like, this is even you in the ring at this point, right? Like, this is already happening.
So much so that I'm communicating to God daily, like, man, like, let me know, like, I will quit fighting if that's what you want me to do.
Wow.
It's like that. Like, it's him over everything.
That is so powerful, man. That is so powerful for people, that what you just said is a statement. Like, I'll quit this. Like, you like fighting, you're doing it, like, you're living through it. It's a dream, or it's a passion, or you walked into that gym as a young guy and you're like, I love this. And so you're doing it, through Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and God. But what you're saying is, look, if you want me to do this, I won't do this. Like, I'm doing what you're asking me to do in my daily life.
Yeah, I don't just incorporate God into what I do. You know, my life is his. So if he wants to use the UFC as a platform for him, then all right. But if not, where else are we going, you know?
Wow. Look, that's powerful. Let's move on to this, your fight here. Tell us about this. May 11th, Billy Goff. How did this fight get set up? Tell us about this fight and what you're thinking.
So my manager, he just hit me up with the name and date, and I said yes to it before I even knew I didn't even know who Billy Goff was, didn't even look him up. But I said yes, accepted it, looked him up, and then I realized, man, this is like the best matchup I could have ever, like, to me personally, like, I believe this matchup against Billy Goff is the best matchup for me that I could have possibly gotten, honestly, to be honest, because just stylistically, what he believes he will be able to do with me is a trap. Like, it's a lie, and I'm gonna capitalize on what he believes he can do, and I'm gonna shut him down. I'm gonna shut him down. He won't be able to touch me. I will frustrate him, and that'll be all she wrote.
Yeah, look, I tell you, I'm looking at the tail of the tape here. I mean, 6'5", he's 5'10". And listen, I've seen people get knocked out regardless of their height. So I'm not saying that anybody that's tall is gonna. I'm just saying, I know he's looking at that and he's going, okay, the major concern, let me just say this, forget him. If I'm in the ring and I'm 5'10", and I'm looking at the tail of the tape going, I'm fighting Trey Waters on May 11th, and it's, what is it, Louisiana? Where's it at?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay, yeah, St. Louis. So if I'm in the ring, I'm like, I'm 5'10". This guy, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going, okay, this guy is going to tower me. That's going to be an issue. And then I'm like, the reach advantage is going to be an issue. And I'm going to have to, like, literally figure out what the hell I got to do to get close to this guy, because I know he's coming to knock my head off. Like, and that's what's so interesting about fighters. Like, he thinks that he's going to knock your head off, right? Like, UFC fighters, it's not their first fight. They're not running back into, their condo or their house like, oh shit, Trey's chasing me down. These are people that are training, right, for fighting like you, going hard every day, eating the right things, doing the best they can do for May 11th. They're not fighting in 3 days, 4 days. They're like, I got months and months to watch film. I got months and months to train, months and months to condition. Like, that's what makes the UFC so freaking crazy, right? Like this guy is preparing, and you're like, yeah, but whatever you're preparing for doesn't really matter, because I'm coming in there. It's going to be lights out for me. What is your words, like, not to him, but just your energy for this fight? Is this the best fight so far you're looking forward to, or is it just like the next step in your path, would you say?
Just the next step in my path. You know, it's a blessing. I'm extremely fortunate to be in this position, to be able to compete at this sport at this highest level. It's an honor and it means a lot to me. And but as far as this matchup, I feel like it's a blessing in itself, and I think I'm levels ahead, and I think stylistically it makes this fight. I think stylistically there's a huge issue for Billy in regards to being against me.
And are you I watched some of your fights. How are you? Are you better on your feet, like standing up toe to toe, or are you better on the ground? Or you think, hey, doesn't really matter?
Well, I have 3 submissions and also 3 knockouts. So,
There we go. 50
but
50.
I'm more comfortable on the feet, if I'm being honest. I'm totally more comfortable on the feet. But my grappling, people sleeping. People sleep on my grappling, and I'm gonna show that here soon.
So tell us, so how these fights go, bare knuckle, a little different. Payday, a little different. Things aren't, they're building that process, a lot of fighters. Tell us about when you get into the UFC first. Do you get a contract, you're on a salary to fight right now, or is it per fight, or you have a salary plus fight commissions?
It's a per fight thing, but there's other things that you get paid for, like sponsors through the UFC and stuff like that.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, you also get other money.
So for you, this is a big deal. And I've been telling people, like, for you to get in there, this is your livelihood too. Like, through Jesus Christ, through Trey, through whatever, this fight, if you knock this guy out, your money's going up. Like, hey, give me another fight, right? Is there anybody that you want to fight, particularly? Like, you're looking at the UFC card, you're like, give me this guy.
Nah, it goes back to like I was saying, I don't really order my own steps, so I don't even like to do that. I don't even like
Wow.
to I don't even like to do that. I like to just let it come,
Yeah.
whoever is supposed to be. Yeah.
Whoever's coming your way. So does a process work where, like, Dana White, like these guys, which, by the way, we're in contacts with Dana White and these guys, so we're gonna have people on the show. We're gonna be sitting out. There's gonna be some cool things, Trey. I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to watching you fight. I got some cool ideas I'll talk to you about after the show. But are you saying, like, you're working with your trainer, your manager, and then Dana White? Who contacts them? Dana White or someone in UFC and says, hey, I got to fight for Trey? Is that how this works?
It would be Sean Shelby. He's the matchmaker for my division, and he
Okay.
like contacts my manager, and they negotiate. And yeah.
Right. Well, call and say, look, I got a fighter for you. If you don't take that fight, so this is a question people that were watching also. And good morning to people that keep coming in out of the chat. And I have a bunch of people, all their social media have been sending me thousands of direct messages about fighters and who's coming on. They're all going to jump on. I'm sure they'll check out your page and all that. But my question to you is, once they call and say, hey, we have a fight for you, are you kind of like forced to take a fight eventually, or you can just say no? Or how does that process work? Or, like, just for people that understand, they call and say, "I'll fight for you." You can say yes or no.
Um, I'm still kind of figuring that out exactly. Because me personally, I'm not saying no to anybody.
Yeah,
So me personally, I don't know from personal experience, but I've heard a couple different things, so I'm a bit unsure, honestly.
because they say, "Hey, you're going to fight Billy Golf," and you're like, "I don't want to fight Billy Golf." They're like, "Well, we want to pay you to fight Billy Golf." You're
Yeah.
like, "I'll fight Billy Golf," right? Like,
Yeah,
this is kind of
I've heard a few different scenarios. Like everyone's in a different position in the UFC. So it changes. It changes.
and these guys here. I'm gonna get to another question in a second. But guys like Daniel Cormier, are they leaders? Like, as you start building up, that's someone that you would probably want to go to. Like, my imagination would be some sort of mentorship, just a conversation. Like, hey, man, like, I'm following in my own steps are going in my own direction. But this guy's a legend, right? Him, John Jones. Is anybody else like him that you look up to? When I say look up, I'm not saying you want to be like, but just like, is there anybody else that you look up to? Like, man, I like that style fighter. Not that they're the same style as you, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, anybody else that you look up to?
Yeah, there's plenty of influences on my style, and to name a few, it would be Anderson, Israel Adesanya, Conor McGregor, uh, Dominic Cruz, lots of guys, more guys than I realize, because the way
Yeah.
evolution works is there's things that you see and you take that have so much that you don't even understand. You don't know where you got that from, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Like all of a sudden you're doing something like, holy shit, when I learned that, like you saw that so much on tape or whatever, and you just went with emotion, right? And it worked out. Anderson Silva is interesting, right? He's got that the reach, the legs, the kicking and the legs. Like, and John Jones is one of those guys you're like, is this guy gonna
Jones.
kick me?
Yeah, John Jones too, for sure.
John Jones, when I watch him, I'm just not just because he's winning. I watch him fight Corman. I'm just like, dude, this guy is like, he's unpredictable. And I
Mhm.
kind of feel when I talking to you and watching you, you're unpredictable. You're one of those
Mhm.
guys, and that's why I want to have you on. You're one of those guys that when I've been talking about you the last couple of days, I'm like, this is a guy you got to watch out for. Like you literally don't know. I watched one of your fights and I watched you get hit, and then people are like, oh no, he's hurt, and then boom, you knock the guy out. I'm like, oh, okay, that didn't go as it looked like it was going, right? So
Yeah.
tell us about getting hit in the ring. When you get hit in the ring, have you been stitched up after the game, after the fight? Sorry. Um, what's it like getting punched in there and being like, shit, my face is numb, right? Like can't feel shit, whatever is going on.
Yeah, fortunately I haven't been stitched up, you know what I'm saying? God forbid. But I've been punched for sure. I've been punched with some good ones. My fight against Ben Bennett, he punched me really hard in the eye. And he punched, and I had to like touch my eye real quick because it almost felt like my eyeball fell out.
Right? Like it's like numb for a little bit, right? Like your shit is numb, right?
Yeah, it was painful. It was the first. I don't really feel pain in the fight. Like, I can get hit with shots and don't feel them, you know. But that I felt that one in the fight. I felt. I'm like, bro, hold on. And God is perfect, because what happened was we punched each other at the same time, and I knocked his mouthpiece out. So he's like, hold on. He went to grab his mouthpiece, and as he's grabbing his mouthpiece, I had a second to like touch my eye, like, "Wait, yeah, it was hilarious. It's perfect.
You're like, yeah, right. Like you're like, shit. Yeah, take your time with that mouthpiece, man. I got to figure out if my eyeball is on the canvas right now. Give me a
Yeah, yeah,
second.
yeah.
So,
Literally.
how do you prepare? Like, that's a question I have for bare knuckle too. How do you prepare for getting punched in the face like that? Like I get like boxing gloves on, UFC, a lot smaller of a glove, right? Like it's like fighting. So when you're training and you're like sparring or whatever, do you have just like full go rounds where people can actually like, because in the ring it's not like just sparring session unless someone's really going 100%, right? So what's the training like versus the ring? Because I know you got to be prepared before you get in the octagon. What's the
Mhm.
difference of the two? I know the conditioning, I get that. The gym, I get that. Tell us about the sparring versus in the ring.
So everyone's different. There's guys from the lowest to the highest levels that spar really hard, like almost like they fight in the gym. But I've always been opposed to that. I do not like that. I don't think it's beneficial. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze on that, because our brain is just like, you only get one, man, and it's not like you can't just rebuild it, you know. And
Yeah.
it's something serious. So me personally, I spar really light. And I appreciate Conor McGregor because he gave me a lot of clarity when he came and took over the game. And he's like, precision is speed, timing is power, and like it's the timing and precision is over the speed and the power. And
Really?
yeah, man, that's why if you look, like, that's why I'm knocking these guys out, because of that
Yeah,
exact.
I hear that. I
I'm
hear
able to
that.
I'm able to place it, because the thing is, it's not hard to throw a hard punch. You don't even know how to you don't have to know how to fight to know how to throw a hard punch,
Right.
but you gotta know how to precisely time it to touch the right place. And if you can do that, then it's different. A lot of these guys got the game backwards. They got it all mixed up. And I'm not going to explain exactly why yet, because I got to take this game over first, but I'll tell them soon.
That's so interesting you said that because guys, I know guys that are tough. They're in the gym, like they can punch a punch a bag. They're at those, those little arcades, they punch that fucking bag. And people are like, oh my God, this guy got 9,000 points. Like, okay, he's tough. Like, don't fight that guy. But at the end of the day, that's nothing to do with it, right? Like being tough is a good thing. But the precision, the accuracy, stepping back, knowing to move forward. And when you throw a first punch, if you miss, like some people throw that haymaker, right? Oh, and leave themselves wide open for that. Oh shit, right? Look, we've all seen that before. So
They sure do. They sure
precision
do.
is everything, right?
Yeah, it is.
What's
It
your
is, man.
what's your message to before I let you go? And I appreciate you on here. A lot of people as we connect and other fighters. There's some cool things I'm gonna tell you after the show. But tell me this: what's your message, just in a nutshell, to the UFC and to fans? Because I know there's fighters. There's a message to fighters coming up. Hey, keep training, yada yada yada. Follow the steps, and it's gonna be tough. There's bumps in the road. But what's your message to the UFC and to fans watching you? Like, what are they getting as a person? Like why are you the next special thing? I mean that in the best way possible, because there's a lot of fighters out there. What are they getting in Trey Waters?
All right, to keep it sweet and simple, my nickname is the truth, and I know the truth, and I'm gonna show the truth. I'm gonna speak the truth. I'm gonna be the truth. So watch me, and you will see the truth.
That's it. There's there's no anger. There's none of that. It's just watch what you're seeing. I'm going to put it on tape for you.
The truth. It's the truth, man. The truth will set you free, but the truth hurts.
I appreciate you, man. What's your Instagram? You can list on here for people. I have it, but say it on here. I'm going to post it on all social media. Your Instagram page.
Yeah, it's Trey the Truth UFC.
Trey, I'm going to put it in here. Trey the Truth UFC. So anybody popping in and out of here, watching a live, people keep coming in and out the whole time. And all social media. Trey the Truth UFC. If you have Instagram, jump on there. Do you have all the other social media platforms, Twitter, all that as well?
It's about the same on all of them, yeah.
All right, they'll find you on there. Trey Waters, Trey the Truth. Listen, we appreciate you coming on. I'm looking forward to seeing your fight. I'm going to try to be at your fight May 11th versus Billy Goff. We do have the media passes. I told you we're all bare knuckle fighting now. We're talking to Chris Letta, who's connecting us, obviously, with people that are important, guys like Dana White and all that. So my guess and I think we will be at your fight. I look forward to seeing you fight. And I think if we can, you'll let us know beforehand. Maybe before you come out to fight, we'll jump in and get a picture of you and a quick message like, what do you got for these guys out here live? And we'll jump on here because I'm looking forward to seeing you. And I know you have a lot of training to do and be prepared. So I appreciate you coming on the show, Trey.
I appreciate you, brother, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to keeping up with your show. I'm definitely going to stay tuned.
Awesome. And listen, as these guys start coming on, we have guys that are going to be saying, I could beat up all these guys. I could beat up Trey. You'll have all these guys, and not to stir shit up, because my goal is not to stir shit up. My goal is to give honest, truth information, but it's interesting entertainment. If anybody says, no, I want to fight Trey, I'll come on the show, talk to Trey for a minute and see what we got to talk about.
So a podcast I was previously on called OG Sessions. My boys Joey and Nick, they asked me, they're like, what do you think will happen if it's like 2-on-1, like us two versus you? I'm like, bro, y'all have no chance. And actually, so we're actually thinking about doing it at the gym. We're actually thinking about doing like a sparring session at the gym, like them two versus me. So follow me on Instagram. That's coming soon, and you'll see what it will look like.
Listen, that's something people got to see, right? I love that you got like the heart of the lion, bro. You're following in Jesus Christ, following God. And you know what it is? I think a lot of people today are going to take a lot from your message as we upload through all social media. I think people are going to take a lot what you're saying pretty seriously. So I thank you for having you on, and I look forward to seeing your fight and talking to you after the show.
Yes, sir. Likewise, brother. I appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Talk soon. So it's so great to have him on the show. And I want to go into Ryan Garcia and what he's going on. Obviously, there's been a deep conversation with Ryan Garcia, and conversation probably not even about his fight. Like, he's fighting Haney coming up, but he can't get off of the conversation with the demonic things that are happening, things that he's saying he's seen. Howard pulled up for us in the back here. This is the kind of thing that Ryan Garcia is saying he's been exposed to, right? Like he's like, okay, they took me here, they showed me this. I'm not going to go into great detail, only just for the sake of the channel and the show. But he's saying things are happening with kids. He's saying, some of the elite people are doing some crazy, outlandish, and wild things. And people are saying, oh no, like some people are saying that he's just crazy, right? Some people are like, oh no, he's going crazy. But it's only one or the other. Like he's either seen something nuts and he's telling the truth, or he's going crazy. And I was going to ask, Trey on here the question, say, hey, look, we think about that. Trey's a big believer in Christ. And he goes, you know what? I don't even get into that. So if anything has a negative kind of vibe or something is going a little bit crazy or that, he says, even though he believes in all the right things, he tries to stay away from the dark side of things, which I understand. So I don't want to go down that road with him on the show. But Ryan Garcia has got this massive fight coming up, but he can't let go of this because apparently, just quite honest with you, he saw something, right? Like either someone took him somewhere and he saw something crazy, or he was in a dream and saw something, because he's not trying to come on here and make things up, right? This is a big and very interesting thing to talk about with Ryan Garcia, because not only is he saying this, he can't be doing it for fame. The guy's already famous. The guy is already rich. The guy already has everything. Young guy, good looking guy with money, with a big fight coming up, with all kinds of opportunities. I don't really think that Ryan Garcia, to be honest with you, not saying that I know everything he's saying or believe or have seen anything. I'm just saying it kind of comes to a certain point where you're like, okay, what is he gaining from this? Everybody already knows him, especially in the fight world. Everybody's going to be watching him. It isn't like he goes on here and starts talking about, oh, I saw these demons, and all of a sudden he gets this bigger following. Like he's already stating, the facts of what he saw and what people took him to see, and the elite, quote unquote elite, with kids and all that, which I don't want to go into the whole children thing because that's where you kind of get some issues on YouTube. But I'm just saying he's already world famous, world renowned. I don't think that anybody in the right mind is going to get on there when you're already world famous and start talking about some random thing that doesn't make any sense. So all I'm saying is, whether you believe what Ryan Garcia is saying in the meeting, if you haven't done it yet, go on there and research Ryan Garcia and type in what he's doing, because it's getting pretty wild, and see what he's talking about. Almost losing track of his fight. I think it's important for people to go out and see, just to listen to. And if you believe in it, you can step up and be helpful. Moving on to Dak Prescott. Now, here's the question and kind of concern, I guess. Dak Prescott is being accused of sexual assault. The problem that I have with this, and any girl in this position or has gone through this, and guys too, apparently, right? Whatever, or kids, or whatever the minor, whatever the case may be, right? I'm not saying that it's true or not true, but what I'm saying is, don't wait 5 years in this position. I believe one girl that accused him was from 2017. It's like, that was 7 years ago, right? And I know, I get it. Women are scared, right? Or men, can't forget that nowadays, God forbid. Men or women are scared, or minors, whatever the case may be. Don't know who to go to. Maybe he's rich, maybe he's successful. People aren't going to believe you. There's a problem, yada, yada, yada. I understand. I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I am going to say, quite frankly, is do not wait 7, 8 years, because then when you come out and you say something, no one, for the most part, is going to take it really seriously, even though they kind of have to. It's really hard to take something serious like that. You're like, when did that happen? Was it like last month? No, this was back in 2017. People are like, looking at my clock and my phone, it's 2024. So I'm not saying none of this didn't happen. I'm not saying that people should shy away from it and pretend that nothing happened. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if something happens and you're scared, tell somebody that will tell somebody. Don't sit back and then wait and then say, hey, Dak Prescott got $100 and some million. Now's the time. Or, hey, it's been a long time. I feel more comfortable now talking about it. Now's the time. Because then people aren't going to believe you, right? And then all his attorneys are going to and say, look, this is BS. And they outside of this bar back in 2017, she was saying that she was sexually assaulted by Dak Prescott. It's so hard to go back. You can't even find cameras from 2017. Like, who has the opportunity to even research that? And so that's what makes it so hard. And again, I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm not saying that the girl's wrong. I'm not saying that, oh, guys should do what they want. That's not what I'm saying, being very clear here. All I'm saying is, don't wait. that long, because then you're going to put yourself in an awkward position, because now not only are you still coming out with this and saying this and people are hearing you and it's all in the media, now people are going to be like, not even know if they should believe in you, right? So that's the part I'm just saying. This just popped out. I want to bring it to your attention. It's kind of been in the conversation the last couple of days. I'm moving on. Jason Kelsey is struggling with retirement. And I thought this was kind of interesting. And what happened was, if you guys didn't see or didn't know, Saquon Barkley got traded to the Eagles, right? And so Jason Kelsey's like, whoa, we just got Saquon Barkley. And the Eagles, obviously, this past year, they kind of hit some bumps in the roads, and they said, man, that sucked. Like, we could have went further, and that sucked. Or, look at Jalen Hurts, and maybe he didn't lead the team the right way, or maybe the coaching, something happened. But the problem is right now they got Saquon Barkley. And they're like, whoa, the Eagles are picking up more players. The Eagles are going to be good this year. They're going to be the team to beat. Wow. And then Jason Kelsey sits there and goes, shit. Like, I literally just retired. And now Jason Kelsey is struggling because, and I apologize, my voice is just crazy. I lost my voice yesterday and I'm fighting it back. But he's struggling because he wants to be back on the field, right? Like, everybody goes through that remorse of leaving the game and wanting to come back. And then it's like, okay, now that I'm retired, now you got Saquon Barkley. And now Saquon Barkley needs a center, right? Like, he needs a line, and they have a good offensive line. Jason Kelsey wasn't on the lineup. It'd be better. And so now he's struggling with it, going, look, man, I would love to be back on the Eagles lineup right now. And he's like, I'm kind of happy with my decision. I'm happy with my decision. But, man, am I missing? I think right now, when the offseason, some of this stuff starts, you got throughout the spring, and then you got OTAs, and then you got the pads come on, and you got preseason. I think at that point, Jason Kelsey is going to be feeling like, oh, man, his brother's still playing, Travis, obviously, with the Chiefs. I think that's when Jason Kelsey is going to more than ever miss it and want to be back on the field. But now they're also talking about Saquon Barkley, how the Eagles tampered with something. So all this kind of crazy nonsense is happening, but Jason Kelsey is struggling, obviously, with retirement. Now, this is another kind of controversial topic. I appreciate all of you that are here this morning, and I appreciate everyone that's commenting on here. Good morning to you watching the live session, watching the live interview today. But this is the topic that I wanted to bring to the attention of people. So if you don't know Bomani Jones, he's one of these guys. He has a podcast and a show he's had for a long time. And he's saying that teams in the NFL, they look at the skin color for the deciding factor. And what he pointed at was the backup quarterback. So this was interesting. And the reason why I brought it to the attention is not because whether I believe in him or think that he's right or don't think that he's right. He's been doing this for a long time. I want to say like 20 years or something like that, or more, whatever, around about 20 years. And so he kind of knows a lot about the game, right, in the NFL. Kind of knows a lot about sports, and he's been covering it, and knows a lot of players and yada, yada, yada. But it's like he's saying that the teams look at the skin color of the backup quarterback that comes in. So if you have a black quarterback, your backup quarterback is going to be black. If you have a white quarterback, your backup quarterback is going to be white. So I looked at the roster and I was like, oh, well, even if that's not true, that the teams don't do that, kind of was like lining up with his argument, right? Like, it was like, I want to be like, oh, that's bullshit. Obviously, they don't do that because they're picking the best player for the team. And I get that, especially for the starter, right? The best player for the team. And then that backup we're bringing in, best player for the team. And what he said was, if the quarterback is white or black, then the backup's going to be the same. And I wanted to jump on and be like, that's stupid. Like, who the hell says that? But then you start looking at the rosters and you're like, oh, this guy might be onto something, right? And you look at the Ravens, right? And you go through, look at the 49ers. You start naming all these teams and you're like, wow, this guy either A, struck it at the right time, came up with this, right? And he's right? Like, this is kind of bogus in conversation to even have, especially in 2024. It's like bringing this to the attention will only cause more kind of division and racism in sports, and which is kind of something that we don't need in the world. But I'm just saying, they said they look at the color of the skin for a backup quarterback. I just found that to be very interesting, but then somewhat kind of true, as not true that they do it, but true that the facts are that's kind of what was happening by the selection of the race. Let's move on to the show quote of the day, and then I will also have some information for you about the fight today. We're going to be live at the Bare Knuckle fight today with fighters in the locker room, fighters as they're coming out to the canvas is going to be awesome today. But before we go into that, show of the day, or sorry, the show quote of the day: the world is changed by your example, not by your opinion. So if you got something to say and something to prove, yeah, you might want to say it once, twice. I get it, it's your opinion, but then you show by example, right? Like the world is not changed unless you do something about it, right? And that's something that Ryan Garcia is probably trying to do. But the world is changed by your example, not by your opinion. And so if you want to get out there and do something or talk about something, get out there and do it. Like kind of, put up or shut up at that point. But I like that quote because instead of talking about it, it's almost like don't talk about it, be about it. But this is more like the world change, right? You want to change something, don't lead by just your opinion and your voice. Like lead by example. Like you say it great, people know that you're talking about it, but be about it, right? Like you can change things, even if it's in your own household, by being an example. Like you want your kids to go to school, be professional, talk well, do the right things, then lead by example and you will change, right? Don't just talk about it, be about it and do it. And that's my quote of the day. But listen, I'm going to tell you guys, today we have around, I believe, 5 or 6 o'clock. We will be at 5 o'clock, sorry. We'll be here in Miami at the fight. The bare knuckle fight is today. We have tons of people that were on the show. Now you're seeing UFC fighters coming on the show. You're seeing MMA guys, bare knuckle guys. Obviously, we have NFL and NBA guys coming on here. Next week, we're working on some stuff. But the thing is, today we'll be live. So if you're on here right now, hit the like button, hit that notification bell so you can watch. There'll be a lot more people that will be there. When we go live at the bare knuckle event, people are going to be typing in bare knuckle fight, trying to stream it live. We will be live with Howard production in the back. He'll have all his cameras there. We'll have our microphones. We'll try to interview as many fighters as we can. We'll also be near the canvas. You can see the fights up and close. They did give us the media pass for all the fights. Any fight we want to go to, I believe now. Thanks. Shout out to Chris, who gave us, he's one of the commentators. If you look up bare knuckle, Chris Lytle, he's one of the commentators. He gave us the media pass. So we'll be there front and center to give a better highlight of the show and also our reactions of fights, of knockouts, of hits or whatever. So we appreciate that. Hats off to him, which will also lead us into also dealing with the UFC and people were talking, reaching out to Dana White and stuff like that. So the show is going to be expanding. I appreciate all of you coming on here every day. I know the start of a platform or start of a show, there's going to be a lot more engagement, more people joining us. And today, thanks also to Trey Waters for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Monday. It is Friday, so enjoy your day. I know I got into this too early this morning, and because I was drinking my coffee, and I'm like, my voice is kind of going shitty. So I don't know if I said it or not in the morning, this morning when the show started, but it's Friday, the end of the week, March 15th. You head into the weekend, so enjoy your day today. But remember, hit the like button on this, hit the notification bell, because when we go live, you're going to want to get that message to your phone to jump on right now. The sporadic times tonight. After 5, it will start, and you'll see the fights up close to person. You'll see us there with the microphones and all that. So I look forward to that, and I will see you guys bright and early on Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time.